So hi, I'm here with Amber, and she's going to share her story about her son.
My name's Amber. I'm 32 years old and I have three children. My third child, um, he was vaccine injured in 2016 for the very first time. The final vaccine injury was in 2017. So we began vaccinating. He was born at Ohio State Wexner Medical Center in Ohio, and I, during my pregnancy, got every single vaccine. I also participated in a flu shot study at Wexner Medical Institute, where I received not one flu shot, but three separate flu shots.
In what amount of time?
It was through the beginning of the pregnancy all the way up to the end. So there was one in the
3
beginning,
and 9
there was
months.
one kind of like in the middle, like towards the end of
While
the
you
pregnancy.
were pregnant?
And then there was one that they give you that they said they couldn't give until after the baby was born. So I don't know why I didn't ask questions. Why couldn't I have that while I was pregnant? Why does that one have to be after the baby is born? So I didn't realize that I was vaccine injured. I was very focused on my son because 2 weeks into, and mind you, this is my third child, so even everyone around me, family members and everything, kind of acted inappropriately and said, like, why is she acting like this is her first child instead of her third? And the thing is because things took a big jump somewhere along the line from the last time that I had kids 8 years prior to that. So I wasn't seeing
The push of vaccines?
well, I wasn't really seeing the reactions that and the problems and the pain and all of these things in my other two children that, my parents used to tell me, like, what did you do to these kids? They're so quiet, like, did you drug them? And they were formula fed and had been vaccinated. I breastfed my third child and he was not formula fed. And in fact, I tried to force formula on him and he rejected it and then didn't trust me anymore and would no longer take a bottle and would only take my poop. So he knew, it was like from instantly what he wanted and what he didn't want from me. And we vaccinated him. I imagine that he was given the vitamin K at birth because I didn't know anything about vaccines, so I didn't know to reject any. And so it was about 2 weeks after his birth that he started to have severe tummy pain. And to the point where babies don't have like reflexes at that age. Babies don't put their hand on their head. They don't, their arms are out of control. They don't have full control. But yet my son at 2 weeks old was pushing on his tummy. That's how bad the pain was. He was pushing. And so I started to find myself putting his legs up to his tummy and then doing like the bicycle and trying to like alleviate any pain that way, just thinking that it was gas, because you hear all the time, oh, it's just gas, like a baby smiling, oh, it's just gas, everything's just gas. So I was doing that, and at his first month visit I told the doctor that things were getting like really uncomfortable for him in his stomach, and that I was having to do this bicycle thing and push his knees to his stomach and push, and then he would have a bowel movement. And I just didn't think that it was normal for me to have to assist with a bowel movement, that a child should be able to have that bowel movement on their own. So then this doctor, which was at his first month visit, he recommended that I take a Q-tip with Vaseline and stimulate a bowel movement that way. So because that's what I was advised to do, I started doing that. And I moved from Ohio back to Tennessee, where we had already lived prior to moving to Ohio. And when we moved back there, we went to see a family doctor who was already in our family with other family members. And when we went to that doctor, we told her that previous doctor told me to use the Q-tip and also to buy milk of magnesia and give our baby milk of magnesia. He was only 1 month old, and my pediatrician in Tennessee now is like, well, why would you give him milk of magnesia? And I said, because the doctor said so. And she was like, well, I've never heard that before. So I was getting very conflicting information about over-the-counter things and just different stuff. And I also remember during that 1 month visit, I pointed out to his pediatrician that he had a blue vein across his nose, and that he had a red patchy stork mark on the back of his neck. And I asked the doctor, what is that? Is that normal? And he said that it's normal, it'll go away. I didn't feel in my heart that it was going to go away, and it didn't. And just looking back, these are some of the signs that if I had known and the doctors were educated, we would have known that our child should have never been vaccinated because he had the MTHFR gene mutation, which is what caused the blue vein and the stork bite on the back of his neck.
Yeah, there's certain characteristics that people have usually when they have the MTHFR.
Right.
The dimples in the back.
And you think a doctor could identify that and tell you, but no, he said it would go away. And so we went to this first doctor, and a month after being in Tennessee, I told her, he's just crying all the time. It doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter who lays him down. I can put him down 5 minutes later, he's back up screaming. My mother-in-law can put him down, he's back up screaming within 5 minutes. So the doctor said, I bet he has really bad, severe GERD, so acid reflux. And she's like, I bet if we put him on medication for that, things would get better. So she instantly put him on one of the medications. I can't remember the first one, but not omeprazole. So Zantac was what they gave first. And she said that Medicaid wouldn't cover omeprazole unless we tried Zantac first, and that it doesn't typically work as well as omeprazole, but it does sometimes work. So we tried it, and it worked for about an hour, and it kept him calm. But then he started getting really fussy, and it was out of control again, and it was no matter how much you gave it to him, it didn't help him enough. And so she moved him to omeprazole and got him on omeprazole, and that started to help him. But the thing is, it was like a lifetime treatment. We were then treating him every day. If he didn't have this, he was having extreme screaming episodes, throwing up episodes. Like, he couldn't keep anything down. He would throw up through the middle of the night. My fiance and I stayed up all night. He would get up and go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning after having no sleep. But we were concerned about our child so much. We'd take him to the emergency room. We would ask them, what is wrong with him? Why is he in such pain? And they would be concerned, but they would have no answers for me. And so I started to push and tell them that I wanted, some kind of testing to be done. I wanted a specialist to see him.
How old was he at this point?
He was about 9 months old, because he had continued to be vaccinated for everything. His flu shot, and in the first year, they tell you now that the babies now have to have 2 flu shots. And it's not just 1 dose anymore, it's 2 doses. So we got his first dose done.
At how old?
6 months.
6 months.
And then 9 months he got his second dose. And
I was that's only once a year if
I was noticing
but for a
problems.
baby who's 10 pounds.
I was noticing problems after each vaccine, but it was like I was storing it in the back of my mind, like there's no way that this is what's causing it. So I kept taking him to the doctor and vaccinating him and telling the doctor each time, like, he had gotten a rash after the chickenpox vaccine, and the rash would then not go away. So I then demanded, and I told the doctor, like, that vaccine caused this rash. And so they said, no, it didn't, and that it was just coincidence, and they prescribed everything under the sun. None of it would help. And she took pictures like crazy, and then they scraped it, because I demanded that it be tested for shingles, because I was concerned that if he got vaccinated with chickenpox, it's a live virus, that now maybe he has the shingles. And because it was a painful rash, you could see he was itching and it was painful. And as soon as she scraped it, that was the first time it had ever opened. And after that, it was a nightmare for me to get rid of. I had to finally I started learning about essential oils. I learned about tea tree. Tea tree really helped, at first when I first learned about it. But then whatever this was, whatever rash was caused by this vaccine, it was so powerful. This virus or whatever bacteria pathogen was so powerful that everything that I used started to not work. The tea tree oil and everything, whether it be oregano oil or whatever.
So it'd work for a little bit, and then his body would stop reacting to it.
When I first started learning about vaccine injury, I switched my diet. It changed everything. I took him off omeprazole despite the doctor's orders. I took him off of Miralax because the pediatrician and gastroenterologist that we went to go see put him on Miralax. Now, I don't know if you know about Miralax, but if you look at the back of the bottle, it says that adults shouldn't be on this for more than 7 days. And it says that no child should be prescribed this by a medical doctor. And here I was prescribed this by a medical doctor, giving it to my child for a month before a friend of mine said, hey, Amber, you should really look into the side effects of that drug. And I did, and I realized that that was dangerous for my child, and not just that, but so was omeprazole. So I decided to tell my pediatrician, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to vaccinate him, and I want to treat him naturally, and if he's constipated, then I'm just going to give him, prune juice from now on, like organic prune juice. And she was like, oh, don't waste your money on organics, just save your money, buy regular vegetables and stuff like that, you'll save so much more money. And we still recommend that you keep them on the omeprazole, and we still recommend that you keep them on the Miralax. And she was writing all this down as I'm telling her this is not what I want. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm gonna have to just say okay and leave this office, knowing that I'm defying this medical advice because I disagree with this doctor, and I know what's best for my child, and I already put him on organic food, and I was already seeing a big difference, and I was treating him with apple cider vinegar for his acid reflux, and after 2 weeks of treating him with apple cider vinegar as opposed to omeprazole, I cured his acid reflux.
Wow. I know chiropractic care has cured a few friends of mine's acid reflux in their babies too.
It's just magical that there's these things that are natural and that you can do it and it works. Did I question it at first?
Well, they don't make money off of your apple cider vinegar.
And then, the Amish already did. That's how I learned about it. The Amish had a cure, and it was like, is this bottle? It was the Amish,
I did it when I was pregnant with her acid reflux.
Yeah.
It's hard to swallow, but...
Ginger and garlic and apple cider vinegar mixed together, and that's what we gave them, mixed with water, because it has to be a 1-to-1 ratio, because it can burn your esophagus. So we did that for him, and within 30 seconds, it solved the acid reflux problem. And then after 2 weeks, I no longer had to give the acid reflux.
Was he sleeping better even?
He was sleeping better. He was not
So you took him off all the meds?
And just went cold turkey from mainstream diet to organic, and tried to cut out everything, and read labels, read the ingredients and everything. We cut out every toxic home product we were using, and went to all natural. And we didn't have the money to do any testing. We didn't have the money to do hair testing to see how his levels were and how they improved. I just knew if I buckled down and I did all the organic and all the natural, and I stopped giving him this pharmaceutical medication, and I stopped giving him these vaccinations, and I started supplementing with CBD oil and vitamin C high dose and different herbs and things like that, that his health would improve. And that if we spent our money on that, then that's less money that we spent on the testing. And granted, we don't know how far we came and the kind of progress that we made on paper, but I can tell you that 2 years ago my son was dizzy, walking around like a drunk person at the age of 1, falling, hitting his head on walls, screaming and crying 24/7, throwing up consistently, always low on nutrients and vitamins, all of his B vitamins, iron, deficiency, everything. His energy was so low, he was so tired all the time, but he couldn't sleep because he was in so much pain. And now, for the last year and a half, my child has been sleeping through the night. He has not been constipated. He has gotten his language back at 2. I treated him with CBD oil, and within a month of CBD oil, he started to get 5 words.
Wow.
And it was just such a big improvement.
Wow.
And during the time that when we first found out about Vaxxed, the movie, that was when I was searching out because of vaccine injury, and I had come across Vaxxed, and I had found Andy Wakefield. And I actually even remember the moment when Andy Wakefield was live and the police came to his home. I actually remember that moment, and I came across Stop Mandatory Vaccination, the group, and Vaxxed the movie, and I watched it, and I learned, and I couldn't believe all that I had learned. But my experience when I reached out to Rachel Williams, I believe, of Vaxxed, she was going to interview me for Vaxxed after I moved here to Spokane, and then we didn't speak anymore because I got caught in a fight or flight mode again, where my sister, who is in the medical community, she invited me to come here and asked me to help her get healthy, just to throw us out on the street and turn us into CPS.
Your own sister.
Not knowing anybody, moving all the way across the country from Tennessee to Spokane, Washington.
And she's still here in Spokane?
She is.
And you don't speak, or you do?
No, and she's fired from the medical community now, so that's karma. And
do you think she did that on purpose?
I believe she
malicious
absolutely
intent?
did it on purpose. I believe that she coaxed me across the country with the intention of getting my 3rd child taken from me. Because my parents, they have my oldest child. My ex-husband, who is in the military, who is abusive and controlling, he has my 2nd child. that he keeps from me. And my parents, they have been abusive all of our lives, even to my sister who has these issues. It's been quite a journey. I've realized that I think MK Ultra plays a part in my family, and there's a lot going on with that in the military. So I believe that played a role with vaccines too, because what do they want to do?
Yeah. I want to get back to you mentioned earlier you feel for these parents who've been gaslighted and the PTSD
Yes.
that they have from this.
So that's something that I don't think that we talk about enough in our community. I noticed a few months ago a mother who is in our community. She's also an ex-vax from vaccine injury. There's an issue of PTSD going on amongst us. I have to be the first to say that I totally feel PTSD from all that's happened.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because now that I no longer vaccinate, and now that I eat healthy, the healthiest I've ever eaten in my life, and just basically I feel like I'm doing the right things finally. We're persecuted for it.
Yes.
And like the CPS issue where my sister turned me in, like that is a PTSD thing too, because then you're constantly like, is somebody going to hurt us? Is somebody going to put my family in jeopardy? Is CPS going to show up at my door again? Are they going to show up at my husband's work again?
Yeah.
Is this going to be a problem again in the future? Because it seems like everybody that I know in this community has dealt with CPS in some capacity or another.
And they're doing medical kidnapping also.
Right, and has been threatened, and everybody just is super scared. And God chose us to protect our children.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't choose anybody else. He chose us to protect our children, and that is our job. And
He put that intuition into us, right?
Nobody's going to love them like we are.
No.
If I give you my child, you're not going to love them as much as I do, because you didn't birth them. I did. And, we have a bond, and we've had that bond since day one, since he was inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for you and your kids. And I just think that with the PTSD issue, every mother has the right to feel that way, because we are supposed to be protecting our children, and there's somebody after our children actively, daily.
Yeah, I love the part in Vaxxed when Tatiana Obrovich, who is an immunologist, basically just shared how she was a mother first, and that's all she said. And by second, I'm an immunologist, and I just thought that was powerful because she's representing us.
Absolutely.
She's not, thinking she's above us because she's an expert in immunology.
And what they said in the movie too, you have a lot of these parents who are stuck within four walls in their home, raising children who are vaccine injured and can't get out and speak about it. But social media has been a powerful tool, and we've been able to connect with one another. We've been able to share our stories, and that has been the most powerful thing in all of this, is being able to find other parents that have shared their stories. And because of finding other parents who shared their stories from Vaxxed and Stop Mandatory Vaccination, I and other mothers like myself, we've been able to heal our kids.
Yeah.
It's not...
And not feel crazy, right? Not be the crazy mothers that...
It's not all 100% doom and gloom. Yeah, there are a lot of kids out there who are permanently injured, a lot of kids who have died and will die in the future because this is still continuing to go on. But I want to encourage other mothers out there, other parents out there who have vaccine injury, especially the earlier the better. The earlier you can detox and heal, the better. I think you have a chance of recovering your child. The earlier we can start detoxing and doing all of that.
When was the last vaccine your child had?
It was in 2017, right on his birthday, so February 15th.
And he was one. So he was vaccinated till 12 months.
Yes. And that's where he lost all of his language. He was saying mama and dada, and that stopped. But he's finally saying mama again. And actually, he was saying dada for a year now, since he was 2. It wasn't until he hit 3 that I got mama back. And not only did I get mama back, I got I love you.
Oh.
So that's really a milestone that I'm proud of.
That is. Well, good job, Mama. Good job waking up, saving him, recovering him, being alone in this, being sabotaged in this. And I thank you for sharing your story.
Not a problem. I hope that other parents share their story and get out and encourage. We're supposed to be here to lift each other up, and that's all I want to do from now on. I want to help other people, and so if there's anybody out there that I can help, I'm happy to do so. And I don't want to charge any money for it, because we're here for each other. The big pharma is against us, and we've got a big fight ahead of us.
We do. We do.
I'm ready.
I've been fighting. All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
All right. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Erin.